What does it mean to get the backstory? It means asking the hard questions and getting to the heart of what matters about your mental, spiritual, financial, and physical well-being. In my quest to find wholeness, wellness, and end the 40 years of obesity that ravaged my body, I found that it was my own stories that were keeping me trapped in processed food addiction. Once I started asking the right questions, those same stories led to brand new consciousness, mindfulness, and agency. Each month on Get the Backstory Live, we take on the tough questions so you can find the healing, hope, and transformation hidden in your story. Hello there, and welcome to Get the Backstory Live. Today is a special broadcast of Get the Backstory Live. I am your host, Michelle Petties. Thank you for taking your time out this afternoon to get some inspiration and get some motivation and get some insight around your health. This month, as many of you might know, or some of you might not know, is October, and it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Thus the pink. But today we're going to be talking about the power of pink. But breast cancer is more than just a color, right? It's more than just uniting around a color, but it is uniting around a mission, a mission to support women that and families that are in this fight against breast cancer. Today, there's so many statistics that are swirling around about this disease and the things that how it impacts us. But today we're going to be talking to two really amazing and resilient and powerful women who are and have been in the fight against this disease. They're going to share their stories, and we're really going to talk about what happens when you find out that you have breast cancer. So first, I want to introduce my first guest. And tell you a little bit about her. It's I have my glasses on, Miss Kamala Green. Miss Kamala T. Green is on a mission to see women healthy, happy, and whole. She is the author of a newly published article, Fight Girl Fight, a story of becoming after divorce and breast cancer. She is a sought-after speaker and lecturer to empower women to live their best lives. Professionally, Kamala serves as the program manager for Social Drivers of Health for National Government Services, NGS, overseeing all of its health equity efforts for its federal business. Her commitment to public and mental health has ranged over the past 30 years of health and mental education promotion, collaborations, policy development, and implementation and fiscal administration. Personally, Ms. Green has served in several organizations and positions: the American Cancer Society, Ruth's Pink House, Movable Feast, Western High School, Youth Ambassadors, Alpha Kappa Alpha Society, Inc., the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, and Bethel AME Church in Baltimore City. Please help me welcome to Get the Backstory Live, Ms. Kamala Green. Oh, Kamala, your mics. There you go.
I got it. I was so excited to be here with you. I'm still muted. So good afternoon. I'm so excited to be here on this Saturday afternoon, just finishing making strides against breast cancer. Our walk was this morning, so it was invigorating to be out with other survivors and folks who support breast cancer. So I am just happy to be here with you and Rhonda today.
Okay, thank you for that nice segue to introducing our next guest, Rhonda. So everybody, I want you to just welcome to Get the Backstory Live, Rhonda Brunson. And let me tell you about this sister, right? Rhonda Brunson owner and operator of Miss B Credit Queen, a credit counseling service, has over 15 years of experience in the credit industry. She has been featured in multiple magazines, online articles, television appearances, and sought after by many lenders and realtors. She also currently sits on the board of the National Association of Certified Credit Counselors. Ms. Rhonda Brunson is currently touring the country with her books and hosting speaking engagements. Then at the age of 41, Rhonda was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2022. That's just last year, y'all. So this is real new. Leading up to her double mastectomy in March of 2023, just a few months ago. Rhonda searched the internet for information on what to expect after. She couldn't find what she was looking for, so she created it. Tata Tuesdays, a 501c3 breast cancer organization, was born on March 10th, 2023. It has quickly become a sisterhood and safe space for all of the hers. That's the HERS, right? Caregivers, warriors, survivors, grievers, supporters, and preventers. You two are just powerhouses. I am so honored to have you in the space today, and really to have you here having this discussion that if it's not going to touch all women, right? It may not touch all women directly, but it's going to be somebody you know, right? And so let's talk about and unpack what to do when you find out you have breast cancer, and how to support anybody that we love and care about that may be going through this challenge and this journey. So why don't we do this? I'm going to ask you both, what happened when you found out? I'd like to start with you, Kamala, and then Rhonda, we can go to you.
I was 44, going to a routine mammogram, nothing abnormal, didn't recognize any lumps, just went and they said, okay, we want to offer you to do something different. And how about a 3D mammogram? I said, sure, I'm willing, I'm open to that. So mammogram went through, and then I saw the radiologist come out, and she was saying to me, well, we found a lump in both breasts, in both the left and the right, but we're a little concerned about the one in your right, and so I'm going to do an ultrasound. So she did the ultrasound, and she said everything looks fine, come back in 6 months, you should be okay. We'll go back and reevaluate it. So I was on my way to Essence Magazine, because at the time I was working for the American Cancer Society, and we were doing a breast cancer summit on African American women. And got there, and I got a call from my physician, and she said, hey, where are you? And I said, I'm in New York at Essence. And she said, you're going to have to come home. And I said, why? And she said, because I'm looking at your scans from your mammogram, and I feel like you probably have breast cancer. And I was just stunned. Like I was away from home. Nobody was with me. And I just couldn't even believe that I was hearing that. And I said to her, I said, but the radiologist came out and said, it's nothing wrong. Like she said, come back in 6 months. And she said, no, I've scheduled time with the breast surgeon and oncologist, and we really are looking at the scan saying you probably have breast cancer. You need to come home. So I will tell you that that was May of 2016. I was 44, getting ready to go through a divorce. I had a little child. He was 9 at the time. And my mom was in the hospital. So I had a lot of stress going on, and I did not tell anybody. I think I called one person and said, this is possibly what's going on. And I just was numb. I was numb up until the day I had surgery. So that was May of 2016. I had surgery. Actually, yesterday, October 20th, was the anniversary of my surgery for breast cancer. Was yesterday.
We're so we're so glad to have you
I'm
here.
excited. I'm so excited that I'm 7 years into this journey. I've had some scares where I've had to go back because they found lumps. But I'm thankful to God that I'm just still here and in my right mind.
Yes.
So I didn't really realize I had breast cancer until the day I went into surgery.
That's when you were
I was willing to admit it.
okay. That so Rhonda, was that your experience? Did you feel that kind of numbness, or what was going through your head? What was your experience like?
I found my lump in the shower. So it wasn't, I wasn't caught all the way off guard. I knew that there was something here that did not belong. And how severe it was, because I think that up until maybe as recent as last year, I really thought that in order to have breast cancer, you had to have a pre-existing condition, that someone in your family had to have breast cancer. So this was totally off my radar. But then I had a friend, Tawanda, who had recently passed from breast cancer, and she didn't have any family history either. So I took it very seriously. I found the lump and at the end of July. I think I went to the doctors in August, and as immediately the GYN sent me to get a mammogram and an ultrasound, and then my whole life stopped. My grandmother and my aunt died 3 weeks apart, so I was in Baltimore planning funerals for 60 days. And when I came back, that's when I finally got my biopsy done, and it came back that it was cancer. So my formal diagnosis date is November the 10th. And then I went into having a double mastectomy not until March. So my stages actually advanced from 0 to 3 by the time I had my surgery, because cancer in Black women does run way different than in white women. And unfortunately, because we don't really participate in testing and stuff, they can't give us a reason as to why. We just know that it happens. So I wasn't numb. I was very, I was feeling all the feels. I cried a whole lot. I remember driving in my car like what's happening? I can't, because you just feel so out of control. I think to a certain degree, you feel like your body turned on you and you don't know why. You probably did a lot of things right and a few things wrong, but it still shouldn't have equated to breast cancer. So I don't remember feeling numb. I remember feeling all the feelings, and I still feel them today. So
When you say feeling all the feelings, can you unpack what some of those feelings are?
well, I think the first thing, and I don't know if Kamala can agree, you may. I know the first thing I thought was, I think I'm going to die. So where do I need to do? How do I want to do this thing? If you know me, you know I'm extra. I've been extra my entire life. So I was like, well, I'm going to take all my little money. I'm going to move to Turks and Caicos. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to die right there on the ocean. That was the plan. And because I had seen how bad treatment went for other people, and how low chemo could take them, how low radiation. And I was like, I just don't want that to be me. I'm not going to fight this cancer thing. I'm going to figure out what Dr. Sebi talking about. And if that doesn't work, then I'm just out. That was the first feeling. And then I realized I had a lot to fight for. I have a lot of people that care about me, and you don't really get the option to just quit. So when you go from being an almost quitter to a whole thriver, it's different. Kamala's a thriver. I'm a thriver. People who take this situation and turn it into something else, we're thrivers. So you get down, and then you're like, okay. I got to get back up. I got to go.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first thought was like, Lord, please don't let me die. I was like, oh my God. And I think that's so true. I think I was numb. So I think I was numb because I was just in a state of denial. Like I didn't have a pre-existing condition for cancer. I didn't have any cancer in my family. So it's not on my, like I wanted to say, it's not on my radar to think that. I mean, and for the most part, I had been a runner. I mean, obviously I had gained weight, but I had a lot of stress, the marriage and just everything that was going on. I had a ton of stress. And so what I later found out, my breast surgeon told me that 85% of women who now come in with cancer have cancer because of stress and not because they have pre-existing conditions for it. So that was for me a wake-up call that I had internalized, and really I had really internalized some stuff that was going on in my life personally, that I had really just had all of this stress that I really hadn't even dealt with. So for me, it was okay, Lord, I know I have to fight because I have this 9-year-old and I have to live for him. If nothing else, I gotta live for him to get through. And then I think the other piece is that my family would be counting on me to pull through. I don't know that they've ever seen me like just down and out. So I felt like after I got through that first part of I can't believe it's me or why me, that I just started saying I gotta fight. Like I don't have an opportunity to be down. Like I even went into a session with my oncologist and I said, look, whatever we gotta do, let's do it and let's move quickly because Rhonda's right. And African American women, because of our genetics and because of our body mass and our weight, cancer moves rapidly. And so my scans from the previous year had no sign of cancer. Not one, I didn't have a lump anywhere. So then to have like within a year later to have a lump in both breasts, and then to have cancer, I just said, oh no, whatever we gotta do, I'm all in. Like I'm gonna follow every last decision you guys make, I'm gonna follow.
And let me just say this really quick. I'm so sorry because my bio is a little wrong. I haven't taken time to really edit my professional bio into my cancer bio. I was diagnosed at 40. This was my first mammogram. I did not know what was going on. You know what I mean? There was nothing to compare it to. This was just my first time. So I want to tell other women that as well. First of all, don't skip mammogram day. Never skip it. But then never think your age is a reason for something not to happen to you.
Oh, thank you so much for that. So, Kamala, I want to go back to something you talked about. You talked about stress, and stress is a topic that is particularly of interest to me because of the challenge I had over the years with emotional overeating, obesity, food addiction, stress eating, and just dealing with that and recognizing it for really for so many years I didn't even know that I was stressed, and I haven't had breast cancer, but certainly the stress impacted me and my body in some other ways. I remember for years I worked as a commission salesperson, and it is a job that I loved, that I absolutely enjoyed and thrived in. And people would say to me all the time, "Oh my God, you work on commission sales. That must be so stressful." That would be what they would say. And I was like, "Oh my God, no, it's not stressful. I love my job." I couldn't equate the fact that something that I loved could be stressful.
Mhm.
And when I got clarity around the fact that those two things could exist in the same space, thing that was a shift. It was a shift for me. So I want to, kind of talk about the stress for both of you because I get a sense that might have been an issue for you too, Rhonda. But as since the diagnosis and now since you're on the other side, how has your lifestyle changed? What do you do to manage stress, to take care of those things that that if we don't take care of, they ultimately show up in our bodies in some way that is not a way that serves us.
Well, I will tell you, I mean, I don't play about my stress level. And because I recognize that that was a contributing factor for me, I tell people, one, I do not worry, and I do not worry about people. And I mean, I just don't. Somebody said, well, is it because you're 51 now? I'm like, no, it's because you recognize that you just cannot allow certain things to really enter your space and overwhelm you because you have a different set of circumstances that impact your health. So I do not allow, I give myself I literally give myself 2 days to be down and out about whatever is going on. But that third day, I said, Jesus got up on the third day. So 2 days, Jesus was down. But on that third day, Jesus got up. So on that third day, I have put this to rest. Whatever the situation is, whatever I can't, I accept that I'm not going to be able to fix it or control it. And so I really keep myself to a 3-day rule. But I also exercise, and I really eat right. And I found that I'm a Coca-Cola girl. But that is, my doctor told me immediately, in African American women, caffeine is horrible for breast health. So I had to lay off. I'm not going to say I haven't had a Coca Cola in 7 years, but I know that I can't have it every day, and I know I can't have it every month. So I had to learn how to acquire the taste of water and other things that are much better for me. But when I realized why I liked the caffeine, because it was sugary and it gave me that extended energy. So that meant that I now had to learn how to care for my body and really care for myself emotionally and mentally. So, and I'll tell people, I got a therapist, because at the end of the day, people don't understand this journey. And not only am I taking this journey, I'm doing a divorce journey, and I am doing I'm now going to be a single mom. So I literally had so many extenuating circumstances happening all at the same time that I knew that I had to do some other things right, and this was the time to really shift. My doctor didn't have to tell me but one time, get rid of the caffeine. He told me at one time, and I was clear that I had to do that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to say that life is great. I say I live life like it's golden every day. I do not, and I'm not going to say life is perfect, but I do make sure that there are happy moments. My son and I do a gratitude moment every day, because I tell people this diagnosis could have gone another way. And it can still go another way, because I live with this every single day. So I have scans on Tuesday. So, my anxiety's been a little high. But it's what you come to live with, and you understand that you only live once. I hate to say it. You only live once. So you need to make it whatever it's going to be. So I do find the moments to make sure that I've laughed that day. You got to have some laughter every day. And that I just cherish the moments with friends and family. That really is probably the best way that I can say that I've controlled my stress, but really to be focused on life itself. Um, it's simple. It's simple living. Like, I don't know that my life was that simple prior to the diagnosis. It really wasn't.
What you're saying reminds me of a book that was out quite some years ago, and the title of it was "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. It's all small stuff." Right, and that just requires us to, to make a shift, to make a shift in thinking. So, Rhonda, I'd like to ask you. Oh, go ahead.
Just on that topic, in 2017, a documentary came out called Heal, and it's available on Amazon Prime and Netflix. It's a really good documentary. So this is way before I got sick, but it helped me understand how stress lives in your body. Things that come to you, diseases that you all of a sudden come up with, multiple sclerosis, cancer, a lot of it has to do with the stress that is the things that you internalize. I'm not an unpacker. I'm a pivoter. So I say, okay, this is going to be difficult. How do I get A now to connect with C, since B isn't an option? So because I'm always being mindful and masterful, I don't deal a lot in emotion. My emotion lives in my body. Mm-hmm. Then I'll start to feel it in my shoulders. Then I'll start getting migraines. You know what I mean? But all this time I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like, I'm stress free. I'm not. It's just that stress comes in so many different forms. If you're not aware, it will dwell on you. And stress is a large contributing factor to any cancer or any other mystery diagnosis, because it lives in your body. But I would encourage everyone to watch the documentary Heal, because it talks about the power of forgiveness. One lady was on her deathbed. When she crossed over, she saw her father. Her father said some really kind, encouraging words to her. She was out of ICU in a week. It's the way that we process us and the things that happen to us. And that is what helps us when it comes to healing.
Oh, that was golden right there, Rhonda. It's us. It's how we process us. Yeah. And I believe that, in my food journey, that is probably like the biggest secret that I discovered. And as you talk about where stress lives, for a lot of folk, it lives in their gut, lives in their stomach. And so because it shows up there, right? Then we think we have to eat. And it's not really hunger. It's not really hunger. What it is stress, but we've so many times don't have the tools to be able to identify it, to separate one from the other. But as soon as we, this, in my understanding, is that stress comes from having a problem or a situation that you don't know how to solve. It comes from this feeling of powerlessness. And oftentimes we don't even have to solve the problem to feel empowered, but we need to solve something.
But
And
you know,
that
with stress
some
also, stress is larger than that because you have good stress too. And so even the things that should be making you feel euphoric, if I'm planning a wedding, that is exciting to me, but it's still highly stressful. So good and bad stress, if they reside in you too long without your proper exercise and diet and just mental processing and therapy, if you're not doing all of those things, it will manifest in a negative way in your body.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Excellent point. So, as we talk about stress, can you talk a little bit, Rhonda, about the things that you do? I know you as you unpack it. I love the fact that you pivot, right? What else? What else are you doing now on the other side of this that you weren't doing before?
Well, currently I'm the lead her of Tata Tuesdays. I created this nonprofit group, which is a sisterhood of women that have experienced breast cancer in some type of way. Even if you are a preventer, if you found a lump and you had it removed before it turned into something else, if you're a person that simply took the BRCA test because your mom passed away of breast cancer, we have a space for every single woman, and I am here for their spirit to make sure that they stay encouraged throughout the process. So I've spent the majority, it's crazy because I was at I did a breast friends ball a few weeks ago where all my breast friends, anyone that had been a part of the breast cancer process was invited to come. I invited Shadina, which is the surrogate for Candy and I cannot remember the other lady's name on Housewives of Atlanta, but she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she was our keynote speaker. She was pregnant with one of the surrogacy pregnancies when she found out she had breast cancer, so she had to rush through the pregnancy process. But I had her come out as a keynote, and she said, wow, Rhonda was watching my journey. I don't think that she was really understanding that I was watching hers. I don't know how she playing this ball in the middle of chemo, but all of my stuff was done. I mean, I started chemo in May. I just rung the bell in September. Every month, though, I was still having events for women to make sure that we could stay encouraged. So that's my outlet. The way that I get rid of my stress and anxiety is literally in helping others fight through the process as well, understand more, learn new things. Every Tuesday, we have something called Tata Tuesdays where we hear from women about their experience either in breast cancer or around it. We bring in therapists, we bring in sex therapists, we bring in dating help because now you're dealing with this new you. You look totally different than what you did. I had a board meeting the other day, and somehow we got caught up talking about boobs, which is normal. And everyone has a different outlook on their reconstruction. One lady hates it. One lady loves it. I still don't like mine. My reconstruction isn't complete until November 30th. So just different things for women, for us to continue to come together and commune. That is what does it for me. That's my stress free.
Oh, that is great. It's like creating this safe space.
I want to
Th-
go
th-
back to something that Rhonda said, because I really, I think that it's so important for women to acknowledge, especially if they've gone through this journey, that you do look different.
Totally.
So I know I spent, so I was having this conversation. I was even having a conversation during a walk today that one of my breasts is smaller than the other. And a part of that is because of where the tumor was, where it was, and how much he had to cut out in order for me to be, to be whole. And so I did not realize until probably the day after the surgery, like the extensiveness of all of what that surgery really was. And like in places of my breast, like, so he cut off like 3/4 of my areola, but I have a permanent marker in my breast. So when I go to the airport, I have to tell them, hey, I have something in my breast. I'm not, I'm not coming on like trying to blow the plane up. But obviously, all of that is a definition of our womanhood. Like we have that whole conversation about, what it does look like and feel like. I mean, nobody, and those are scars that people probably don't want us to talk about. Is like we look down at ourselves every single day. So I got to the point where I had to love on myself because I started to internalize, like, as a woman, I have changed. Like this is not who I am anymore. So I think it's and it pushes you to also identify yourself in another way too. So I will say that that is a conversation. Like we are talking about the major changes of our bodies at that
So
going through that process and at the end.
even to her point, you hear that we all take different routes to get to the same goal. So it sounds like she had a lumpectomy, right?
I did. Yeah.
Right. I had a double mastectomy. Some women in my group have had a single mastectomy. Some people have had a double mastectomy and are using their stomachs to rebuild their breasts. Everyone has a different story. Tap by Tuesdays gives you the platform to say it out loud. If you want to share it, share it. And then in the comments, you'll see the women saying, me too. I brought in a self-esteem expert last month. Last month was Self-Care September. And the challenge was to stare in the mirror every day for 10 seconds and find something nice to say about yourself, because your body is so different than how you remember it to be, which shifts your confidence. If your confidence isn't up, it's going to be difficult for you to be present when it comes to other rooms. And guess what? There is nothing wrong with you. Cancer did not define you. It did not ruin your beauty. It changed it. If anything, most people who go through breast cancer come out a lot more beautiful than what they were before. Some people have real stinky attitudes before they got in breast cancer, come out really nice people. It's a change. It's a change that happens to you.
It sounds like, based on what you're talking about, is that this experience, like so much, like almost everything that happens to us, is what we believe about it, and how we come out on the other side. It's an attitude, an attitude type of thing, in terms of how we use it, right? How you use it for transformation. What this reminds me of, and I remember telling this story to someone else. I don't know if I told it to you all before. A good friend of mine, my college roommate, was very sick during COVID, and she ended up having a deep vein thrombosis. She had blood clot. And she was down for a while, but the question became, why did I have this blood clot? Where did this blood clot come from? While she was there getting the MRI, they found a mass in her chest. And but they couldn't deal with it because they needed to deal with the deep vein thrombosis. Once they dealt with that, they went back and looked at this mass that was in her chest. It wasn't breast cancer, but it was another kind of cancer. It was cancer of the thymus. And what they told us was that the cancer caused the blood clot.
Wow.
It caused the blood clot. And if the blood clot had never happened, they would have never discovered the cancer. And that if when you're going into it, you think, oh my God, this deep vein thrombosis. I mean, she may lose her leg. This is a terrible thing, all of that. But it actually turned out that that deep vein thrombosis saved her from this slow growing cancer that they would have never discovered had it not been for that blood clot.
And to me, that's grace. And so with Kamala's story, randomly she's going for her routine checkup, and they say, "You want to do a 3D mammogram? Okay, we should do that." You know what I mean? With my story, what I felt was a cyst. My cancer was only 5 millimeters. I wouldn't have found it until I was stage 3. See what I mean? There are different things that God allows to happen because you need to know. So
Yes.
I think even in the worst of it, I'm very, very grateful, because it truly could have gone a whole different way. Most women don't find out until they're stage 3 or 4.
Yeah. Most
So
African American women, I mean, my breast cancer partner, her and I had the same diagnosis. I was
Oh,
stage
breast
0.
women. That's your
Yeah.
breast. Right.
So
Go ahead.
literally, I staged at 0, she staged at 3. It was the first time she had ever had a mammogram. And she's going in, and that's what she's finding out. And I promised her that I would be her partner all the way up until she passed away. So what happens for many of us is that we Black women, we decide that we don't even want to know. And that's why I am always an advocate of telling my story. It used to be a time where I didn't want to talk about what I had really gone through. But when I recognized that it was so many Black women, especially young women, because really at the time that I started screening, you had to be 45 and 50. Really, 50 was the age. And I started screening at 40. And that's just because I worked for the American Cancer Society and I was a Black woman. I said, well, I'm going to start at 40 because we're more likely to have cancer. But it's so many women who I meet who have never had a breast cancer, has never had a mammogram at all. And I just was like, no, like this has to change. So I make it my business in October. And I mean, literally not even just October, but all throughout the year to really have conversations with Black women about not only empowerment, but empowerment also means taking care of yourself. And it
Yes.
really is,
Yes.
like we can take care of everybody else. Like we're focused on partners and children and family members, but you got to be focused on yourself. And I think that I have encouraged women. I'll be your partner. I'll go with you. I will go with if the fear of going through the process, I'll go with you. But I think we have to do a better job as women of telling our stories and really not hiding behind the stories of what happens to us and how we can encourage somebody else. Because for me, that has been why I have decided. So I think the breast cancer journey for me was I wasn't going to live unhappy anymore. I was going to really be who I wanted to be, and just really live my life. And I think that that's the encouragement of going through this journey is really the self-discovery process, because you lose a lot of stuff. You lose friends, you lose your finances, kind of get shake because you're spending lots of money in treatment. So I think that you come to understand some things you're gaining, and some things that I felt like I gained was just a whole new sense of who I was.
Yeah,
So
Campbell, that journey, the kind of that awareness that you're talking about, can you talk about did it happen? I mean, did it happen over time, or did it happen over did it happen in a moment when you had this kind of consciousness or awareness? Because I know when I think about my weight loss journey, I think about all the moments when I said, okay, this is rock bottom, right? And then something else will happen and it'll be, oh, that was rock bottom, and then, oh, no, 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 that was really rock bottom. And then coming back, it was like I got it. But even at the point that I got the clearness and the awareness and the understanding, there were steps. The change just didn't happen automatic. The change
Oh
didn't
yeah,
happen
no,
automatically.
no, it didn't happen I mean, it didn't happen automatically. But what I will tell you is, over time, over these 7 years of taking this journey, I am not the woman that I was in 2016. I don't even know if she exists. I don't even know if pieces of her still exist. And I feel so grateful and fortunate to have done the journey. It used to be a time where I was so angry at God that I was even taking this journey. And then as time went on, I started feeling like, okay, but this was so divine. This was so what needed to happen. And so for me, I think that you got to give yourself grace and moments. There's a lot of grace that has to be given. Grace and moments that I never gave myself before. And
Mm.
I had to learn how to be open to other people, because now I'm getting new sisters. So I had my sorority sisters who I loved, and I had people at church I loved, people I went to high school and college with that I love. But now I get a whole new set of sisters who now when I have this discussion about this journey, they get it and understand it. And for me, that was powerful. I spent prior to this journey, I always say I'm really only 7 years old, because in 2016 I lived a different kind of life. And so I feel like I got a life that I dreamed about. Like, I feel free and I feel enough of a woman. That it was a lot of hard moments, a lot of come to Jesus, and really journaling. And like I said, I had the absolute best therapist. And that's another thing that Black women don't want to get. We don't want to get a therapist. We want to talk to our friend. Our friends, they don't have nothing on a good therapist. So I feel like it was a lot of, just breaking down years and years of things that I felt. But the breast cancer journey for me has been powerful. And it's been a process. So I didn't wake up one morning and be like, I feel like I'm a great woman. I
Okay.
I
So
promise you, on Tuesday morning, when I have to have new scans on Tuesday morning, I'm gonna be saying all kinds of affirmations, because I gotta remind myself that I start this journey every year. I start it all over again. So it's a process that you mentally have to say, I'm in it to win. And so I have a whole new set of values and probably feelings about being after having that journey. And any woman, any of us will tell you the same thing.
Do you mind if I answer that
yes.
question?
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. So go. Please jump in. But I do
Only because my
I
answer is
have a
so
question for you.
different. My need for sisterhood and to be fully transparent started day one. So I found out on November the 10th, and I made my announcement on social media on November the 11th. I am a social media person. Prior to my page being snatched, I had 25,000 followers, and I made all types of videos on finances. So I've always been extremely transparent, not only in my business, but just in life. So I made my announcement then. March or February, when we decided that we were going to do a double mastectomy, I literally could not find what happens from day to day or week to week after. So I'm panicking like, okay, I'm going to be down for 17 months. I'm not going to be able to do this. My mom has to come move with me. It was so dramatic in my mind. So I started telling my story day one, March the 10th, March the 9th in the hospital. I started recording different things, which brought more women towards me because they needed a safe space too. Kamala, what you describe is what we call breast friends. These are all my breast friends, every single one of them. Our language is different. Our unity is different. Our sisterhood is different. How we come through for each other is different. And these are literally all new people that you feel like you just were supposed to know your entire life. But those are your breast friends. And so we've created the Breast Friends Network, or Breast Friends Unite, where I do pairing of women to make sure that this person in stage 3 can talk to this person in stage 3 and tell them what to expect from the process. But my need and my transformation, how I move, because I'm a fast pivoter, I started talking and preaching all this stuff literally day one. I wanted to get it out there because I knew I wasn't alone and it was going to help other people. Go ahead.
So this is just all so inspiring to me. Really, both of you are. But I look at you both, and I see you on the other side, right? You're just like, But I wonder, and we talked about this a little bit before, Rhonda, about the why me moment, the why me moment, or the moments when you just didn't feel like that you were going to make it, or the low points, right? The times when you did cry. What was that?
Real. I mean, in one word, I think this is one situation of many where if you are stuck at a light crying and you tell someone I got breast cancer, they just be like, okay. They give you space because they know it's a highly emotional process. You are constantly fighting your own mind, not just in the sense of wellness physically, but wellness mentally. If you're a single person going into breast cancer, your fear is, I'm going to be so messed up, no one's going to want me. If you're a person in a relationship, you're going to be so messed up thinking this person is not going to accept this new me. Like it's this constant, even you, the clothes that you used to wear don't fit the same no more. You know what I mean? Your boobs, did create space in different dresses that no longer exist. How you feel on different medicines, you don't know what to expect. I had a whole real medical emergency in chemo. I was allergic to Taxol. My throat closed up. All these doctors start coming out. Like, those are moments that you can never really prepare for. Hearing that you're going to, I was completely healthy. I've never been sick, never broke a bone. Hearing that I'm now going to be on a cancer pill for 10 years, that I still have to have my ovaries removed if I don't want my estrogen to recreate a cancer situation. Learning this much in such a short period of time, because now we all have a degree in WebMD, because we have to learn what the doctor is saying to us and the effects that the medicines can have, what they've done to our sisters, what we can expect. I mean, I don't know. It's real. I mean, it's completely real. And you're always in it. Like she said, she's 7 years out. We know that. I celebrate cautiously. Like, okay, woohoo, like quietly.
And quietly.
You really don't know if it'll come back. You have so many examples of it coming back and women living with it their entire life. And as much as you don't want it to be you, it's a reality. It could be. So what are you going to do? In my little sphere of it, I'm trying to change the face of it. You know, if what I love about our events, you can't tell who has cancer, who don't, who just went to chemo, who didn't. We want to present it in a different way so that maybe women aren't as afraid to go and get checked out, because we're still living, we're still thriving, we're still doing us.
I think that I think that there were some major low moments. I never cried from like that, from the first time I found out to the surgery day is when I broke down, because I think at that moment I understood. And remember, I had been working at the American Cancer Society, so I knew what was going to happen. Like I pretty much worked with the best oncologists. I knew, like, everybody had prepped me, so I wasn't. I think I was just still feeling like, why me? And I think the day that I was going in, I worried if I wouldn't come out, because you don't know the extenuating circumstances. So you're sitting. So I was awake for the first surgery. So the first surgery, he puts the wire in to have he puts the marker in so he knows exactly where to hit the tumor. And I was awake for that whole thing. I cried the entire time. And then he moved me.
Were you crying? Were you crying because it was happening, because of the trauma? But was it painful, or was it just the crying because the reality of the situation was settling?
Yep, the reality had hit. So I'm now going through this process. Didn't feel anything, obviously, because they've numbed you and you're going through. So I can remember my pastor coming in to pray with me prior going into surgery. And my mom, and I had given my mom, this is where I broke down. I had given her a list of people to call if I didn't wake up, and I had given her a letter to my son. And I had told her all of the things that I really needed her to know about, just, and just being a mother. And so that broke me. I mean, going into that process really broke me. And my friends the night before had gotten together. They really prayed for me. But it's not until you have to tap into your faith with God. And I always say that, as much as spiritual as I felt like I was at the time, I was still doubting how I had even gotten here. So I think it was, until that. So I had some really low moments. Going through radiation was a low moment. But I mean, I don't celebrate. I celebrate very cautiously about getting my scans and the results, because obviously I'm waiting for the time bomb that could blow at any moment. But I learned to take and that's really the essence of taking one day at a time and really enjoying that day. But I literally will say that, and then finishing my divorce. On the day I finished my divorce, because I was finished treatment December 27. I was finished treatment December 2016. And then I finished my divorce the following year. So I was like, oh my God, I'm finally done. Like, every single thing about this journey has been hard. And I will say, I have never had a journey. I had never experienced my life being that hard before. So that was 2017. So I will say to you, I've never been this happy before. And I
Hmm.
with even all of this going on and still having scans to have, I am peaceful and happy. So but it was a lot of low moments. After that, I mean, just understanding what my body had been through. That's low. That was low.
I think you just said something that was really golden about it was hard, but I'm happy now. That that there is some happiness on some other side of the hard stuff, right? And the hard stuff oftentimes comes in our life to get us at that point. We don't even know it. We don't even know it.
I
Oh,
appreciate life now. Like I don't know that I thought I was invincible because in your 40s, your 30s, and your 40s, you're not thinking like something could really happen to you. At 51, I love life. I'm like, Lord, give me at least 25 to 30 more years.
yeah, but I want to go back to this hard thing, to what you said about being hard, and I'm going to ask you this, Rhonda, because you have set up this community of support around with breasties, right? But for for the folk that are in your lives, right, that love you, that want to support you, that may not have personally experienced breast cancer, but they but they want to do something to support you, to keep it from being so hard for you. what, what insight can you give that person who has a friend or a loved one that's going through this, and they just feel helpless, and they don't know what to do, but they want to do something, they want to be there, they don't want to disappear, right? And and they don't want to bring you a casserole.
It's a difficult question because every person is so different. I have women that will never tell anyone they have breast cancer. So it's another reason the organization exists. They will send me messages saying, this is what my scan says. Nobody knows. This is what I need. Cool. I can help you with that. I would say check in, but check in like this. You know what I mean? Let people tell you what they want you to know. Do not ask a lot of questions. Do not Google me. You know what I mean? Like, don't
Oh, wow.
that if I tell you that I have stage 3 cancer, that stage 3 breast cancer can present in triple negatives, triple positives, 2 positives and a negative. It's so many different things. So what you're coming to me with could be unnecessary, and it's still overload because I'm learning. I remember when during a reconstruction, during the mastectomy, they put expanders in under your skin. On my page is a video that talks about expanders. So expanders go under your skin. As the swelling comes down, your expanders will start to show themselves. There are bandages on your expanders, tape that go across because they cut you across your middle. The tape will naturally start to peel up, as you shower and stuff, pieces come off. I remember sharing a picture of my tape journey with my friends in a group chat. And one of my girls, I said, oh no, because I had peeled this off and I cut this and I cleaned this. Oh, I don't think you should be doing that. Okay, now I immediately got an attitude because you ain't never had breast cancer. So you shouldn't tell me what I should or should not be doing based off of your own thought. And I already got the information. I think unfortunately, we become a lot more sensitive about the information that we get, the criticisms, the opinions. We don't need none of that. So if you're going to, if you want to check in on me, do it like I'd say temperature check. Hey girl, you eat today? Or because even a how are you can be irritating. People will come to me, like my friends, I shut down my house. Nobody could come here. My mom was coming here for all my chemo treatments. My guy was coming here, taking me to the doctors. But my regular friends, they couldn't come around me because they would come and they would give me the sad face. Well, I'm not sad today. I'm happy today. And you're shifting my energy, or so it's the way that you do it. And honestly, if you're patient, when they come out of the other side of it, they're going to be okay. And we will bounce right back into normal like nothing ever happened. But during this time, these 6 or 7 months that you're in severe treatment, you really may need some space. And it's not meant to offend the friend. The friend shouldn't be offended because I'm going through something.
I have
And
friends
I would say some
who did not talk about it. I have friends who just didn't even know what to say to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's like I'd rather you say nothing but just hey
Mm-hmm.
versus telling me what I should do. Like I got a PhD in this now. So I don't really need you to
Right.
advise me on something that I'm obviously sure enough getting a degree in. So I don't want you to talk to me about this.
How many herbal packets did you get? You know what I mean? Or medical advices or shared information from Dr. Sebi's page. And if you just do this, you're going to be well. Yeah, that may not be true though. That may not be true for me. That could have worked for that person. But I think that in their eagerness to help, it causes damage to the friendship, and then you just kind of stuck.
Yes, yeah, and from a friend standpoint, it is, and you love the person, right? And it's so hard because we're not really used to our presence, just sending you good energy being enough. That quite frankly sometimes is just all you need is just to know that they're there. You don't have to, we don't have to do something. We feel like, we feel like we got to do something. We got to do something to help, or else they'll think that we're not here, right? So go ahead.
Look, I just want to add, I think I learned a lot about people though that way. People give to you what they want you to have. That's not what I need though. So like I started looking at them different, and it changed my giving language as well. I now want to be tuned into what do you need, not what do I want you to have. And that's the selfishness I think that exists in friendships.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, I want to be there for you. That's cool. I don't want you here right now. And I don't feel a way about that. I do feel bad for the amount of weight I put on my mom to a certain degree. I knew she wanted to be here, but she literally, her and my aunt were the only people that I felt comfortable having complete breakdowns with, because I know that the next day or even the next minute, they wouldn't hold me to that standard. Whereas my friends, if I cried with them on Tuesday, are still going to be expecting for me to be upset on Wednesday.
Right.
Holding me fine. You know what I mean? So
I so agree with that. I think that is the piece of the journey that we understand that there are only going to be a small group of people who can really handle you. I mean, and handle what you're going through. Like I didn't tell a lot of people at church because they pronounced death, and I was dying. Like I was in it to live. I'm gonna need you not to kill me off. Like let Joseph have a mother. So at the end of the day, I was very strategic about who I let in my circle, so that I could feel like I could be myself. Like, I mean, that's the other piece. Like, this is not a moment where I need you to spiritualize this. I don't need you to give me fruit baskets. I don't need you. I don't need none of that. What I need right now is for you to let me be me. And I just needed that. So I only had a circle of friends and family who could come exactly like you, Ron, who could come to my house because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't have all that energy that wasn't good for me.
I appreciate that so much. So it is almost, it sounds like you're saying, let us tell you
and
what
we will.
need.
And we will.
Let us tell you what you need. So that's certainly good advice, good insight as we start to wind down this hour. I mean, I just want to thank you both so much for your honesty, for your availability, for your transparency today, and for sharing your stories. I know you have helped so many people. And before we close out, I do want to just give you both a chance to share anything. If you want people to be able to get in contact with you, if you want to share that, if you have some final thoughts, I'd like to do that, and then we can close out the show.
I think for me is get the mammogram. No matter, we are starting to see statistics where women in their 70s are getting breast cancer for the first time.
Yes.
So it really is important for you to still get a mammogram. I say it is still the best way to survive is to get early detection. So I would say anything, find a friend. Like the best thing was for me was, I mean, I would go have a routine mammogram, but find a friend who has done the journey. Not somebody who hasn't, because that ain't good, but to find a person who's done the journey and do the journey with hope. that you're going to survive, because you're going to need that hope to continue the journey, because the journey does not stop after you are coming out of remission. I mean, after you go into remission, it doesn't stop. You still have scans. But one thing I want to say, and I was saying it jokingly this morning, was although we don't look like what we've been through, we still go through. So it is still a journey that we take with prayer and grace every single day. And obviously, you know what, just have your faith centered in God.
And you, Rhonda, how can people get in touch with you? Final words.
I would invite everyone to follow me on at Tata Tuesdays. We meet every Tuesday, but constantly putting out inspirational information about breast cancer, the journey, and womanhood and sisterhood all around the board. We want you, like she was saying, to locate your breast friend, even from the beginning. If it's just your mammogram you need assistance with getting to, or you have your first diagnosis, we want to be a part of your sisterhood to let you know that you will, just like us, beat breast cancer beautifully.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Rhonda. And I want to just kind of acknowledge this. We got a great comment here from Heather Henderson, who confirmed what I just said. Your story is going to help so many. She says, one of my favorite shows. So Heather, thank you for lifting these ladies up. Thank you for being here with us on Get the Backstory Live today. We appreciate you so much. Next month we'll be here Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to be talking about diabetes. So Diabetes Awareness Month. There's so much in this environment that we have to be mindful of and careful of in terms of taking care of our health and our bodies, our physical state, because it is all connected. So make sure you join us next month on Get the Backstory Live, Diabetes Awareness Month. We appreciate you so much for joining us. See you later. Oh. Thank you. See you next time.